Welcome to my bookshelf and my David Bowie poster. Okay, so I have yet to do a bookshelf tour and I thought it would be kind of fun. These are like the ones that you more see, because then I have two book carts where the main chunk of my books are on, but these are just my like pretty, I need you to see them, and plant shelf. I think I'm going to zoom you guys in a little bit. This is my like mainly like fiction shelf, but it's honestly just like, I think these books are pretty. I want you to think I read them. Here you go. Which is funny because these were the books that I like really wanted to read more than any other books, and now like you could put a gun to my head and I would not read these books, which is a problem. You know, I've read 2.5 of them. But anyway, let's get straight into it. We have 5 nonfictions, and we're going to start out with This Changes Everything, Capitalism versus the Climate. It's so pretty. It's like the text, like you can feel the text, and I absolutely adore that. And it's just so pretty, and I don't know, love my nonfiction climate books. Then we have The Sixth Extinction and A Natural History. It's the same thing, but less about the capitalism bit. But also very cool. I really want to read these, but I've just not been in a very like educated reading mood recently, so we haven't gotten to them. Play It As It Lays by Joan Didion. I got halfway through to page 72 and I was kind of bored by it. I really do want to read it. Nothing was really happening, and I get like character versus plot, but like nothing was happening. Severance by Ling Ma. My friend actually borrowed this because it's just been sitting on my shelf for so long and I have not read it. It sounds really interesting. It's like post-apocalyptic. There's like a few people, and I guess like they're the only people on the planet, or maybe they think they are. I have no idea, I haven't read it. And like something happened and they just wake up and like there's no one else around, and then I think they somehow like find each other. I read the prologue 6 months ago. Okay, Born a Crime. I really want to read. I read the first 2 chapters and I love memoirs, so that's why I'm getting more excited about this than like a fiction, but like, ooh, it's a memoir about Trevor Noah. If you don't know Trevor Noah, he's a comedian doing the news and stuff. I think he's so funny. And it is Born a Crime, stories from a South African childhood. It is so interesting. It's like sad but like funny, and I don't know. I love it. I love it so far. So good, and I really need to read it. I'm sad that I stopped reading it, but that was like 1.5 years ago, so I don't know why I stopped really, but it's also very hot right now. So, Bluets by Maggie Nelson I actually did read, and I absolutely adored. I think I gave it 5 stars, and there's just like a lot of like annotation in here, and it is an essay collection about the color blue. Name a more pretentious sentence you cannot, but it is so good and it is so pretty. I feel like it's definitely not for everyone, but I really liked it. It's like blue pertaining to her life because it's kind of like a memoir also. Sometimes the blue is just like random facts, and she like talked to a lot of people for years about the color blue, trying to like make this happen. Very interesting. Then we have Cutting for a Stone, which is a thick one. How long is this book? 667 pages. I got this for my birthday from my neighbor who also loves reading, and I really want to read it. It sounds interesting. Unforgettable story of love, betrayal, medicine, and ordinary miracles. So, you know, very much just literary fiction, but it sounds really interesting and I really want to read it. But it's just not like, my current vibe is just not these books. Isabel Allende's Long Petal of the Sea. Isabel Allende is an amazing author, so excited for this. The Odyssey by Homer. I love this edition. It is so pretty. It's Signature Classics. I think it's a Barnes & Noble one. I think it's so gorgeous, and I really want to read it. And I was supposed to read it in 9th grade, but then COVID hit like right when we were supposed to get into our Greek mythology era, so that did not happen. Then we have The Glass Castle, which is a memoir. Also really want to read. Also got it for my birthday by a friend who loves reading, so books. Rocket Boys is one of my favorite books, and I read it in 6th grade, and I really want to reread it. It is a memoir about Homer Hickman Jr. He works in spacecraft, and it's pretty much like him through childhood and just like everything pertaining to him about like space. How like he did the science fair and a bunch of stuff like that and like won, and then he did like fun things with his friends, like building rockets when they were little, and they like blew up a fence and stuff. It is so interesting. I really love this book. And like, this is a big book for a 6th grader to read. It was 368 pages. I absolutely adored it. And there's a movie, October Sky, which is also pretty good. Norwegian Wood by Murakami. I started reading this book, I think I got like 80 pages in, and I absolutely hated it. Just the way that he writes about women, like, infuriates me, and also like no plot, just people. I would say no plot, just vibes, but there are no vibes. I really want to read this though because it is so well known and it's Murakami, but like last year me did not get through it. Yeah, it has been a year. And then we have the 2020 Booker Prize winner, The Promise by Damon Galgut. I really want to read this. I saw it in the airport in London for like €6 and I got it. Nothing more to be said. And that is that with this shelf. The rest of the place just has like my chapstick, crystals, a little incense holder, jewelry. Do you know how to talk about it? It's okay. It's okay. For the top, it's gonna be like a little bit more difficult for me to be shown, I guess, but I think I figured it out well enough. These are my gorgeous classics editions. These are $10 from the book annex at Barnes & Noble's. So stunning. Like, I literally adore them, and like some of my favorite books are up here. And then I have my Mila Kunis Jesus candle that my friend made for me. Love it. My little plant that is currently not dying, so thank you, buddy. Okay, so we're going to start on this side. I have Thomas Paine's Common Sense, which is a book about like American government and militia. Yeah, my brother just bought this for me for my birthday because as a gag gift, like, you should have some common sense. That is that. I don't want to drag out this huge thing right here. You know what, I'll do it anyway, I guess. Just to show you guys how pretty it is too. This is Gods and Heroes of Ancient Greece, also from the book annex. I think it was a lot more because it's a lot bigger. Gorgeous paintings. It's got like the works in here and it is stunning. Me and my brother share it. It is got gilded edges. Up here, randomly, I just have, because I wanted her to be like somewhat shown, and I didn't want to throw her in where my other fantasy are, which is in my closet, so you don't see them. It is this gorgeous, I think it is one of the first editions of Harry Potter, if not the first, the British one, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. It's so cute. I love the artwork on it. I hate Dumbledore, but I love the artwork on it. Then we have Jane Eyre. Never read her. She's really big. Would love to. Charlotte Bronte. Seems interesting. And then we have my Jane Austen Shrine. Emma. Stunning. Stunning. I don't know which one's my favorite because they're all so pretty. Oh, this is the only one that I couldn't get the sticker off yet. But she's so pretty. Sense and Sensibility. I don't know, I feel like this one might be it just because I love the green and I love this like orangey yellow. Two of my favorite colors. So pretty. So pretty, but I feel like Sense and Sensibility would be one of my least favorite Austens. My least favorite completed Austen, just because it's more of like a family tale than a romance. My Baby, Love of My Life, Pride and Prejudice. I think my favorite thing about this copy is also green, blue, also a few of my favorite colors. I love all colors except for purple, so yeah. D&E, Elizabeth and Darcy. I just think that's so cute. Like, and in the back it says, "It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. which is like one of the most known lines from Pride and Prejudice, and also the first line of the novel. Persuasion. She is so pretty. She's kind of like a reverse Emma. Like it's got like the light purple here. She's just really pretty. Watched the movie, hated the movie, sorry Dakota Johnson, it was just like bad, but I heard this is amazing, so I'll still read her. Love Jane Austen. She's so witty. And then my favorite book of all time, The Picture of Dorian Gray by the one and only Oscar Wilde. Green. If it were I who was to be always young in the picture that was to grow old, for that I would give anything. It's so good. Literally best book ever. This isn't a book recommendation video, but like, read it. And I have another Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. She costs a lot of money, but like, she moves. So, worth it. Okay, that is that for my like top shelf. So now we're gonna get more into the nitty gritty of my book carts. Actually, let me show you my fantasy collection first, because that is just shoved in my closet, and otherwise I would definitely forget about her. Unimportant, but she's here. Okay, I have The House of Hades and the Blood of Olympus from the Heroes of Olympus series by Rick Riordan. Funnily enough, the only two I have are the only two that I have not read from the Percy Jackson and Heroes of Olympus 10-book moment. I've read all the Percy Jacksons and I read the first 3 Heroes of Olympus because I read them all on my phone, so it's so easy to just go quickly, and then I was like, I don't really feel like reading a hardback. And I read these a year ago, so I'm like, I really want to get to them, but I'm also not as big of a fan of the Heroes of Olympus as I am of Percy Jackson, so yeah. Shadow and Bone Trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, Ruin and Rising. I'm not the biggest fan of these covers compared to like the originals. Also hate the fake Netflix stickers, but I like the sticker books. Then we have some of my favorite babies, Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. This is one of my all-time favorite books. It is just, it's so good. And I love that it's like the matte, like, tough kind of books. Love these books to death. And then I have King of Scars, but I do not have Rule of Wolves because I don't know if it's come out in paperback yet. So I also haven't read Rule of Wolves, but I have read King of Scars. Also, this book is kind of destroyed because I got really pissed at one point. I completely forgot what happens in this book, but I like threw her against my wall really hard. Sorry. Next are the beautiful Hunger Games trilogy. Hunger Games, Catching Fire, Mockingjay. Catching Fire is the best book, Catching Fire is the best movie. Fight me if you think otherwise. But lastly of my fantasies, I have the graphic novel of The Graceling, because I know someone who knows someone who either wrote it or illustrated it. One of those. And so I got it for free and I read it in the airport. Super fast. Kind of boring, but yeah. And then The Alice 6, which I really enjoyed. Is it fantasy? Is it dark academia? Both. But I just put it up there for now. And I'm glad that I have this version instead of like the new one, because this is the, not unpublished, oh my god. It's like, what is it called when you don't have like a publication place? Self-published. So much prettier. It's like matte. I love the illustrations a lot more too. Okay, we're down at the book carts. They're actually no one on that wall, but lighting. This is it. I have like 2 book parts and 1 miscellaneous on each cart. Don't ask why. It was not meant to be that way, but yeah. And then here we have our first book level. This is literally just like a mess of a shelf, but first we have Being Human, which is a memoir, an unrepentant memoir of a disability rights activist. My English teacher's favorite book. Really want to read it. She said it would make me cry, and you know, she said it was kind of a similar premise. Not similar premise, but like they're both about like Jewish people, I believe. This one and then The Children of Williston Lane, which if If you don't know, I absolutely adore that book. It made me sob, it made me cry, it is amazing. Also a memoir, so good. And she liked this one more, so ready. Then we have The Silent Patient, which one of my friends got me for Christmas last year. She was like, I think you'd really like this. If you know anything about me, I am terrified of anything, absolutely anything. If I'm laying in my bed at night and the wind blows on my back, I'm like, oh, that is like a ghost trying to kill me. So I don't think I'm ever gonna read this, but I've heard it's really good. Then we have The Strange Library of Haruki Murakami. I genuinely have like no idea what this actually is. I don't know. It's like, is it a novel or is it just like little short stories? It kind of looks like it's chapters because it says like 1, 2, 5. I don't know, and it has like some illustrations. It's so intensely random. That's her. Then we have another memoir, Crying in H Mart. Really want to read this, but it is the large print edition, and large prints like unnerve me severely. I don't know why, but I don't like how large the text is. But you know what, I'll get my page count up. Then we have My Policeman by Bethan Roberts. I started reading it and I don't like it. I really want to read it before the movie comes out, but honestly, like, it's just like not really giving. I'll probably start maybe with an audiobook, try to get into at least a little bit of action before coming back to the paperback because it's so slow. Then I have Ariadne, which I actually started and I really liked, but then I got back into the ACOTAR series, and that just kind of, it draws you in, not like, you know, so I didn't finish it, but I really like it, and it's so pretty. It is about Ariadne, Greek mythology, love. And then we have The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I didn't know that the back was purple, and I absolutely hate that the back is purple. I think it's really ugly, but I like the rest of it. I recently read If We Were Villains, so I'm gonna wait for a while for this one, but you know, excited to read. It is 559 pages. Ian McEwan's Amsterdam. I actually got this and then someone told me that it was bad because they just read it. But I love Atonement by Ian McEwan, so I want to read it, and it's the winner of the Booker Prize, but I'm like slightly put off by it just because someone in my personal life said that it was bad, so you know. Then I have 2 of the 3 Southern Reach trilogy books by Jeff Vandermeer, Annihilation and Authority. They're so pretty, like so pretty. I started this one and I honestly really liked it, but I started in 9th grade and just didn't finish it because sci-fi wasn't my vibe, but I really want to reread it, and the second one is about 3 times thicker. Then we have The God Delusion. I actually have no idea what this is about. Somebody just gave it to me the other day. Oh, blurb by Ian McEwan. Okay. Same person who said that Amsterdam wasn't good, but yeah. Then I have this tiny little What They Didn't Teach You in German class book, which is just a bunch of like little slang phrases for the cafe, club, bar, ball game, and more. Then I have these 2 that I'm probably gonna DNF, but I'm like, I got so far into this poetry book, but it was just not good poetry. Albert Rios' A Small Story About the Sky. I just don't really like it. Like, I've liked, out of like the 30 poems that I've read so far, I've liked like 4 of them. And then we have Exciting Times by Nersha Dolan. I believe it's pronounced Nersha. Irish names confuse me. I heard it was like normal people, and I started reading it and it's just like a lot more boring than normal people. I love normal people. This is not normal people. Then I have the 2 books from my friend. I have another one up there. All Adults Here by Emma Straub, also a large print edition, terrifying. And then The Warsaw Orphan, a novel. So I don't think I've ever read, or I haven't read many fictional history things. I'm more of like a memoir person when it comes to that kind of stuff, but that's interesting. And then also in one of them was this cute little cat postcard, so I'm gonna put that back in. Then we have Herland, which is kind of interesting so far, but like not the most captivating, that I'm like continuing reading it, and I did put it back on my like haven't read shelf. It's a lost feminist utopian novel. This is my have already read shelf. We have whatever books on this side and then classics on this side. My classics over here are quite small. I think we'll start with those. We have J.D. Salinger's Catcher in the Rye next. Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. I absolutely hated this book. The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Exupéry? I definitely butchered the last name, but Antoine. It's so cute. I mean, I'm sure all of you guys have at least heard of The Little Prince. It is adorable. And then one of my favorite books, Animal Farm by George Orwell. I have to read this for school, so I do have some like post-its here that are like rhetorical questions, allusion, blah blah blah, because I had to do work. But then I did just underline things that I liked and thought were fun, interesting, whatever. The Great Gatsby by Fitzgerald. I did not like this, but it is so pretty, and I just love classics. This is probably the classic that I like the second least of all classics that I've read. Then we have The Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. No introduction needed, really. And then Letters to a Young Poet by Rainer Maria Rilke, which is adorable. And then we've got another large print. Why do I own 3 of these? Why do I have 3 large prints? It is completely unnecessary. But Ghosts by Dolly Alderton. I enjoyed it. It is literally her memoir, but in novel form. You know, she changed 2 aspects and called it a novel. Another memoir, or not another memoir. That one was not a memoir. This one is Beautiful Boy by David Sheff. You've probably at least heard of the movie with Timothée Chalamet and Steve Carell in it. Steve Carell, oh my god. Heartbreaking, honestly. The movie's a lot more heartbreaking because this one's very like statistical as well, but still a very good book. The Dangerous Art of Blending In. This book shattered me. You're gonna see that as a common thing about these books that I've already read. These are also like a lot of like 5 stars down here. This literally shattered me. A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. Here's the thing, so like I finished the book, but I actually do have like 100 pages left until the end because I decided to stop after this one thing happened because yeah, I think I will eventually pick it up again, but it has been 8 months since I've read this. Yeah, this book made me want to throw up. 5 stars though. Ian McEwan's Atonement, absolutely love it. Watch the movie too with Keira Knightley. The movie's honestly kind of better because this is really slow and like half of the book is just about this dude while he's like in the war. But I still really liked it. Unearthed We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. Really good book. Really beautiful lyrical writing because he is a poet. Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. Do not like. Normal People by Sally Rooney. Absolutely adore. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. Really amazing book. Thick. Look at her. Look at her. She's big. Took me a long time to read. Took me a long time to read. I think this one will be easier to show because it is the top 2 shelves. So, let's get on with it. This top shelf is like my currently reading shelf, and it gives me a lot of anxiety because why am I currently reading that many books? I'm not like currently reading all of these. This is the only one that I'm like currently reading, The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I really like it. Want to finish this video so I can get back to it. It's really good. A good bit of these are like plays, short stories, poems, stuff like that, so it like is, you know, I'm not reading them all at once, and that's why it's taking a slight bit longer to read because I'm not just reading it like a novel. We have The Essential Tales and Poems of Edgar Allan Poe. Love Poe, you know, dipped into a bit in here. Then we have A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, which I'm not really in love with, but one of my friends said it was her favorite classic. I finished part 1. I don't know, it's like fine. I think I'd probably just like reread it, although like I remember what happened so far. Not much has happened, so I think that's fine. This is my brother's favorite book, and also an amazing show, The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan, which is book 1 of the Wheel of Time series. So the show is The Wheel of Time. It is really, really, really good. But because it is like adult high fantasy, it is A, intensely long, 814 pages, and B, so descriptive, so hard to trek through, and I have gotten to page 174. Okay, it didn't even stop on a chapter break. No. There's also no like page breaks in here. It is difficult to get through, but it is really good and I really do want to read it, and I started it in January and it is now August. I want to finish it at least by the end of the year. I thought I was going to finish half the series by now. There's 14 books total. No. Whitman's complete poems, amazing, also gorgeous, gorgeous copy. The Immortals of Tehran, which is a really interesting book, but I just didn't bring it with me on vacation this summer, and I started reading it like a little bit before that just because it is like heavy and big, so I didn't want to bring it, but it's really interesting and I want to get back to it. Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. I think I'm going to DNF this. I really don't like this. This is also borrowed from my friend who gave me those other 2 books. I really thought I'd like Frederick Bachman. Maybe I like A Man Called Ova more, or Beartown, or one of those. But this one is just like really boring. Like really, really, really boring. And then The Importance of Being Earnest and Forward, plays by Oscar Wilde. Love Oscar Wilde. Bro, he's so funny. Like he's so funny. Like this is so funny. That's all I have to say up here. This is the last section, and these are my classics that I have not read. And by I have not read, I have 2 copies of Dorian Gray here. I have a copy of Mice and Men here, and I have read those, but I haven't read this specific copy, and so that's why I like say I haven't read it. So I'm going to start with these 2 in the front. I have the selected poetry of Rainer Maria Rilke, which I'm borrowing from my friend. It has each side, one side is like German, one side is English. Gorgeous. I just got this. The complete works of Oscar Wilde. Stories, plays, poems, and essays. Massive. So happy to have this. So happy to have this. Ready for the day, years from now, when I finally actually finish this huge thing. The Brothers Karamazov. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. The Hunchback of Notre Dame by Victor Hugo. Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea. My little Shakespeare section of Julius Caesar, Twelfth Night, and Much Ado About Nothing. Lolita by Nabokov. The Portrait of an Artist as a Young Man by James Joyce. You know, the portrait of the picture of Dorian Gray. Will love it. The Picture of Dorian Gray. Steinbeck's The Moon is Down. Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men. I think this is so pretty, and it is literally like the thinnest thing ever. The Oedipus Plays of Sophocles. I've read Oedipus at King, and I have yet to read Oedipus at Colonist and Antigone. Really, really good. Steinbeck's The Grapes of Wrath. I like Steinbeck, okay? My absolute favorite copy of Dorian Gray that I've ever seen. I think it is so cool. Like, and there's the picture. Oh, it is so dope. It is so cool. And then last and least, Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. That is the end to this. It has been a while. I've charged my camera twice, and she's about to die again. So, wrapping it up. This was fun. I think I'm about to go to Barnes & Noble's, but I don't think I'm going to buy anything. But just, you know, letting you know. Because this is ever-changing. Hopefully this pile up here changes a bit more and moves to that finished section on my other shelves. Okay, well, see you later.